A poor laborer returned a lost bag. Not knowing it would change his life forever. In the city of Enugu, a young man named Chidi Okafor was born into a life that tested every ounce of his resilience. His father, a civil servant, had passed away before Chidi could even utter the word papa. All he left behind was a modest 3-room house in a quiet corner of the city, a house that became both a shelter and a symbol of survival. The burden of raising Chidi fell solely on his mother, Mama Ngozi, a widow whose strength was clothed in wrappers faded by years of toil. She hawked fruits under the scorching sun in the busy streets of the city just to make ends meet and take care of her child. "My son Chidi," she would often say, "the world is harsh, but never let it change the goodness inside you. Integrity is wealth too. It may not fill your stomach today, but it will build your future tomorrow." Chidi grew up holding those words like a sacred scripture. He excelled in school, not because life was easy, but because failure would mean throwing away his mother's sacrifices. When the day finally came for him to graduate from university, Mama Ngozi wore her best clothes and stepped out to attend the ceremony. As Chidi marched in his academic gown stepping forward to graduate from school, his mother sat with other guests in the auditorium, her eyes glistening with so much expectation. He graduated with first-class honors in economics and accounting, a feat that left even his lecturers whispering about his brilliance. That evening, Mama Ngozi could not hide her pride. She pulled him into her arms and said, "Chidi, your father would be proud of you today. The heavens themselves are proud. My son, this is just the beginning. Your name will stand in high places." Those words were the fuel in Chidi's heart. He believed, like every graduate in that hall, that the world would open its doors. That his results, his discipline, his sweat would finally pay off. But the city had other plans. For months, Chidi walked from office to office with his brown envelope containing his credentials. Each rejection was like a knife. At first, they said, "We regret to inform you, no vacancies at the moment." Later, they said, "You're qualified, but no work experience." Finally, they didn't even bother with explanations at all. They only asked for bribes, ethnic affiliations, or political connections he didn't have. Chidi returned home each day to the sight of his coughing mother, her body weakened by illness. He would force a smile and say, "Mama, don't worry. Tomorrow will be better." But in his heart, he felt the sting of hopelessness. Meanwhile, his friends from school were finding shortcuts. Some joined illicit businesses. Others became errand boys and engaged in dirty deals for corrupt politicians. They flaunted designer clothes, cars, and lived large. They mocked Chidi whenever they saw him for refusing to join them. "Guy, so you are still wasting your brain? With your first class, you are still hustling for jobs in this country? I beg, come join us. Sharp Life Day pay passbook and qualifications." But Chidi remembered his mother's words, "Integrity is wealth too." He shook his head and replied firmly, "No. I can't build a future on another man's tears. I'd rather sweat honestly, even if the reward is small." And so, when hunger pressed too hard and medical bills piled, Chidi swallowed his pride and joined the laborers at the popular market in the city, pushing heavy loads for shop owners and customers. His once white-collar dreams were now covered in dust and sweat. The same city where he had worn a graduation gown now saw him in tattered clothes, carrying goods for men who could barely spell their own names. At night, Chidi would lay alone on his bed, staring at his framed certificate, and he would whisper to himself, "Is this all life has for me? A barrow pusher with first-class honors?" But even then, he never cursed God. He never gave up hope. He held on to his mother's blessing like a lifeline. And unknown to him, destiny was already writing a new chapter. As the morning sun rose over the market, sea of traders shouted prices, the endless honking of buses, and the smell of dust blending in the air. In the middle of that chaos was Chidi, his shirt soaked in sweat, his hands hardened by carrying loads meant for men twice his size. He moved from stall to stall, pushing a heavy wheelbarrow stacked with bags of rice and maize. He carried different loads, because each tip, no matter how small, was food for his mother, medicine for her cough, and hope for tomorrow. But not everyone saw his sweat as dignity. Some laughed at him. Some mocked. His former schoolmates, well dressed in designer clothes, though living on dirty money, continued to laugh at him. One day, while he pushed bags of grains across the market, a voice cut through the noise. "Ah, is that not Chidi? First-class graduate of economics? So he ended up a barrow pusher?" The laughter that followed stung him like whips. But Chidi kept his head down, his lips trembling, but he whispered to himself, "Labor is not shame, crime is." That evening he returned home with his daily earnings, a handful of crumpled notes, but he was grateful. His mother was seated on a wooden chair beside him. "Mama, here," he said and handed her the money. "Buy your medicine first. I'll manage." She looked at him, her eyes heavy with both pride and sorrow. "My son, forgive me. I failed you. If your father were alive—" "Mama, stop," Chidi interrupted softly. "You have never failed me. You gave me life, you gave me values. This world may mock me today, but one day they will see why honesty is better than shortcuts." His mother's eyes glistened with tears as she laid her hand on his head. "Chidi, you will rise. Even if the world turns upside down, you will rise. Mark my words." And he believed her. Even if hope seemed far, he held on. One hot afternoon in the market, Chidi was resting by his wheelbarrow, cooling off under a tree, when a small commotion caught his attention. A handbag lay abandoned by the roadside. People walked past it, too busy with their own businesses to notice. Chidi stepped forward, picked the handbag. And when he opened it slightly, his heart skipped. Inside was a thick bundle of foreign currency, more than he had ever seen in his life. His hands shook. His breath caught. For a moment, he looked around, half expecting someone to shout, "Thief!" But no voice came. No owner appeared. Soon, a few other laborers gathered around him. "Chidi, what is inside the bag?" one of them asked. When he told them, their eyes widened. "Chai! This is a miracle. God has buttered your bread finally. Guy, you are done and dusted with this market work. This is destiny. It is not every day that God drops manna from heaven. You are made for life," another said. But Chidi's heart grew heavy. His conscience screamed louder than their excitement. He zipped the bag quickly and shook his head. "No. This money is not mine. Someone somewhere is crying right now, searching for it. I can't keep it." They all froze, their faces turning from excitement to disbelief. "Chidi, are you out of your senses? See how you are suffering and how sick your mother is. You want to return this kind of money? Please don't loud it." But Chidi stood his ground. "I'd rather suffer in honesty than live in stolen wealth." He walked around the market hoping to find the owner of the bag, but all his effort was in vain as no one came forward for the bag. He took the bag home that evening, his heart restless. He couldn't sleep. The money haunted him, whispering promises of a better life. But then, he found something more than cash as he examined the bag thoroughly, a business card and a sealed envelope inside the bag. The card bore a name, Carol Akana, the CEO, Dynasty Holdings, a very big firm in the city of Enugu. Chidi gasped. He realized the bag wasn't just about money, it carried something far more important. The next morning, he told his mother everything. She listened, her face calm, and then she smiled faintly. "My son, this is why God planted honesty in your heart. That bag is not just a test, it is a key. Follow it. Return it. Your story may begin from here." Chidi nodded. He didn't know how yet, but he was ready to find the owner. That morning, Chidi barely touched his breakfast. His mind was consumed with the handbag, and he whispered to himself, "Chidi, this could change everything. But how do I even reach someone like Carol Akana? Men like me don't belong in offices like hers." Still, his mother's words echoed in his heart. That bag is not just a test, it is a key. His first attempt was over the phone. He dialed the number on the business card, his palms sweaty. "Good morning, Ma. My name is Chidi. The receptionist's sharp voice cut him off. "Do you have an appointment?" "No, Ma, but I found something." Click. The line went dead. He tried again. And again. Each time, The voice grew colder. Stop wasting our time. The CEO is busy. Without an appointment, you can't see the boss lady. Chidi sighed deeply, the weight of rejection pressing on him once again. But he was not one to give up easily. Then he made up his mind to go physically to the headquarters of Dynasty Holdings, a feat he knew was not going to be easy. He later put the handbag inside a black plastic bag and stepped out. He walked for miles along the city roads and busy streets. He boarded taxis where necessary just to get to the company. And finally, he reached a massive glass building that towered into the sky like a monument of wealth. On the glass wall was boldly engraved Dynasty Holdings. He walked straight into the building with confidence. The polished marble floors inside gleamed so brightly that Chidi felt his reflection mocking his worn-out shoes. As he approached the reception front desk, he tried to speak with confidence. "Good morning. Please, I need to see Madam Carol O'Connor. It's urgent." The receptionist scanned him from head to toe, his faded clothes and dusty shoes. She rolled her eyes. "Sir, people like you can't just walk in here and demand to see the CEO. Do you have an appointment?" "No, but I found." "Security," she interrupted. The guard walked in immediately, his eyes hard. "Mr. Man, you have to leave now. This is not an establishment for people of your class. Just leave." Chidi's heart sank. He clutched the handbag tighter, the humiliation burned deep. He was denied access to the CEO and the security guard escorted him out of the building. As he turned to leave, just outside the building, he saw a sleek, silver SUV standing idle, its hood lifted. A beautiful young lady in a well-fitted dress stood beside it, frowning as she tried to make a call. Chidi's instinct pushed him forward. "Excuse me, Ma. Can I help?" She looked at him skeptically, but desperation won. "Please, yes. The car just died on me. I don't even know what's wrong." Chidi leaned in, examined the engine, and spotted a loose battery terminal. With steady hands, he tightened it. Moments later, he entered the car and the engine roared back to life. The lady's eyes lit up. "Oh my God. You fixed it. Thank you so much." She smiled. She reached for some cash. "Here, take this." She offered him money. Chidi shook his head gently. "No, Ma. I don't charge for kindness." The lady blinked, surprised. "Then at least let me drop you off wherever you're going." Chidi shook his head. "I'm actually here already." Her brows furrowed. "Here? Dynasty Holdings?" "Yes. I came to see Madam Carol O'Connor, but they won't let me in." She tilted her head, studying him closely. "Really? What business do you have with my mother?" Chidi froze. "You're a mother?" "Yes. I'm Chisholm O'Connor. And you are?" "My name is Chidi. I found something. Something very important." Her curiosity grew. "Come with me." They both walked together towards the office building. Inside the building, they walked past the same receptionist who had mocked and stopped him earlier. Her eyes widened as Chisholm led Chidi through the reception and into the elevator. Inside the luxurious office on the top floor sat a woman of grace and authority, Madam Carol O'Connor herself. "Mom," Chisholm said with a smile, as they entered. "This young man insists on seeing you. He also helped me fix my car just outside." Madam Carol looked at Chidi. "Well, who are you, and what brings you here, young man?" His hand in his pocket, he responded. "Ma, I found something I think belongs to you." For a second, the room went still. Madam Carol's eyes widened as she asked, "What exactly did you find?" He brought out the handbag and handed it over to Madam Carol. Chisholm grabbed it and gasped. "Mom, this is my bag. The one I lost last week at the market." They opened it, and to their greatest surprise, every single thing was intact. Even the contract. Madam Carol exhaled in relief. "Young man, you have no idea what you've just done. You have saved this company, a contract worth millions. Without it, this Dynasty Holdings would have lost everything." Chisholm turned to Chidi, her eyes filled with gratitude and affection. "And you kept it safe, all this time?" Chidi bowed slightly. "Yes, Ma. It wasn't mine to keep. I only did what was right." For the first time, Madame Carroll smiled. Integrity. Something rare these days. Tell me, young man, who exactly are you? And right there, a new chapter of Chidi's life began to unfold. Madame Carroll's eyes softened as she took in his humble appearance, his honesty shining brighter than any wealth. You risked so much to do the right thing, she said softly. She held out the cash that had been in the bag, an amount that could change Chidi's life overnight. Take this, she urged. It is a reward for your honesty and bravery. Chidi hesitated. No, he said firmly. I didn't return the bag to be rewarded. I only did what was right. Madame Carroll smiled, impressed by his integrity. Your values are rare, young man. Very rare. Chisholm pleaded. Please, Chidi, accept it. Let us honor your courage. Finally, Chidi relented and took the money. He felt the weight lift from his shoulders not because of the cash, but because he had done the right thing. Madame Carroll leaned back in her chair, studying him with keen interest. You speak very well. Are you educated? She asked. Chidi nodded. Yes, first-class honors, economics and accounting. Her eyes widened in surprise. And yet you work, pushing wheelbarrows in the market. Chidi swallowed hard. Yes, I've tried to find employment, but opportunities are limited. I do what I can to support my mother. Madame Carroll leaned forward, her voice firm. I have a feeling that you are exactly the kind of person this company needs. Come in tomorrow. Let's discuss a proper role for you at Dynasty Holdings. Chisholm smiled at him, her eyes sparkling. Something unspoken passed between them, a connection forged in honesty and courage. As he left the office that day, something shifted in the air around him. The city that had once mocked him seemed smaller, less intimidating. Destiny had finally opened a door. That evening he shopped for new clothes. As he got home he celebrated and danced with his mother as the cash reward means a softer and comfortable life for both of them. The next morning, Chidi woke with a restless mix of anticipation and nerves. He had barely slept. Thoughts raced through his mind. Would Madame Carroll really give me a job? Could this be the turning point my mother always dreamed of? Or is this just another moment of disappointment? He dressed smartly that morning, looking completely different. He made his way to Dynasty Holdings headquarters first thing that morning. As he arrived at Dynasty Holdings, a familiar figure awaited him, Chisholm, Madame Carroll's only child, who smiled warmly at him. You're punctual, she said teasingly. Chidi chuckled nervously. I didn't want to be late. I want to do everything right this time. She nodded approvingly. Good. Come on, I'll take you in. They walked together to the building to meet Madame Carroll. Inside, the glass elevators gleamed. Chidi's heart raced. He felt the weight of the past years, the struggle, the rejections, the market, his mother's sickness all pressing against him. But he held his head high, determined to show the truth of his character. In Madame Carroll's office, Chidi bowed respectfully. Good morning, he said. He handed over his credentials to her. Madame Carroll studied his CV carefully, her eyes sharp but kind. Chidi, I've reviewed your qualifications and heard your story from Chisholm too. Your honesty and integrity, values rare in today's world, impress me greatly. Chidi's heart thumped. Thank you, I just tried to do what was right. Madame Carroll leaned back. Do you realize what you did for this firm? That bag you returned held a contract that could have cost this company millions. You saved Dynasty Holdings without expecting anything in return. That alone speaks volumes about your character. Chisholm, standing nearby, smiled faintly. We've prepared a job offer for you, Chidi. Given your academic background in economics and accounting, you'll start in the finance department immediately. We want you here permanently. Madame Carroll said. Chidi felt a mix of disbelief and gratitude. I don't know what to say. Thank you, truly. I will work hard and prove myself. Madame Carroll nodded approvingly. I know you will. People like you don't need luck. They make their own destiny. As Chisholm showed him around the company that day, she smiled and said softly, You really are different, Chidi. I've never met anyone who cares about doing what's right as much as you do. It's inspiring. Chidi blushed, a warmth spreading through him. I only try to live by what my mother taught me. Honesty, respect, hard work. She looked at him, eyes shining. And yet, here you are, finally being recognized. You deserve this, Chidi. Truly. Word spread quickly through the company about the young man who returned the lost bag, saving Dynasty Holdings from financial disaster. Employees who had once scoffed at him now looked on with amazement. His humility, integrity, and hard work were talked about in hushed, respectful tones. Meanwhile, Chidi's mother in their modest home cried tears of joy when he returned home to tell her the news. Mama, I got the job. Madam Carol herself, she trusts me, believes in me. Everything is changing. Mama Ngozi's voice trembled with emotion. My son, I always knew God would reward your heart. Your father would be so proud. The next day, Chidi walked through the market one last time as a man on the brink of transformation. The same people who had mocked him now stared in disbelief. Chidi, is this you? One of them muttered. The guy we often laughed at. Now he works for Dynasty Holdings? Chidi smiled faintly but said nothing. His heart was already focused on the new chapter ahead, a life built on honesty, integrity, and hard work. Little did Chidi know, the reward for his integrity was not just a job. It was the beginning of a life of love, destiny, and unimaginable opportunities, a life that would soon eclipse even his wildest dreams. Chidi's first week at Dynasty Holdings felt surreal. The polished floors, glass offices, and the hum of a multinational empire were worlds away from the dusty, crowded market he had known. Yet, even in this new world, he carried the humility and grit that had defined him all his life. Each morning, Chisholm would pass by his desk, a subtle smile playing on her lips. She watched him work diligently, and earning the respect of the staff not through status or wealth, but through sheer competence and honesty. One afternoon, Chisholm appeared and sat down, leaning lightly. You know, she began, her voice soft, I've met many people who were rich, educated, even brilliant, but none of them have the heart you do, Chidi. He looked up, startled by her closeness. I just try to do what's right. Her gaze lingered, unflinching. Doing right is rare, especially in a country like this. Most people care about what they can take, not what they can give. Chidi felt a warmth he hadn't known before, a fluttering in his chest. I guess. I was just lucky my mother raised me that way. Chisholm's eyes softened. Luck has nothing to do with it. Character, that's something money can't buy. Days passed, and their interactions grew more frequent. Chisholm began asking Chidi for help on small finance projects, often lingering just a little too long. She smiled at his subtle humor, admired his humility, and though she didn't realize it at first, her heart was slowly tilting toward him. Meanwhile, the company buzzed with whispers. Employees who had once scoffed at Chidi's past now watched him with curiosity. Isn't that the guy who returned the CEO's bag? Yes, and now he's working in finance. Incredible. I've heard Chisholm spends more time with him than anyone else in the office. Chidi noticed the stares, the whispers, but he ignored them. His focus remained on his work, on learning, and on ensuring that he never let his integrity falter even in this new environment where temptation was abundant. One raining evening, after a long day, Chisholm holding an umbrella looked at him, her eyes gazed straight to his. Chidi, do you know how rare it is to meet someone like you? He smiled faintly, a warmth blooming in his chest. I think. I've been lucky. No, she corrected gently. You've been chosen. Chosen to remind people that honesty, kindness, and courage, those things still exist. But even as a seed of love began to grow between them, the city and its people weren't ready to let it flourish without a challenge. Some colleagues whispered behind their backs, questioning why the daughter of a billionaire would spend so much time with a former wheelbarrow pusher. She's risking her reputation for a guy who used to push barrow in the market. Yes, but, have you seen how smart he is? Maybe she sees what we don't. And outside the company, Chidi's old friends, the ones who had succumbed to shortcuts and dirty deals, mocked him mercilessly. Chidi, see as you play, office man. I beg, Don't let that fine girl distract you from reality. You're still from the market, my guy. Chidi ignored them. His eyes, and his heart, were already set on something far greater. Late one evening, Chisholm said softly, Chidi, I don't care what anyone says. You've changed the way I see the world. You've shown me what truly matters. He felt his chest tighten. Chisholm. She smiled, stepping closer. I know. I feel it too. For the first time, Chidi allowed himself to believe not just in destiny, or integrity, or opportunity, but in love. The seed had been planted, small and fragile, yet unstoppable. And like all seeds nurtured with care, it would grow into something powerful, something that could defy even the harshest city realities. But inside the walls of Dynasty Holdings, a quieter storm was brewing, one that would test Chidi in ways the market never had. Word of Chidi's relationship with Chisholm began circulating among employees. Did you hear? Chisholm is spending all her time with that ex-market guy. Yeah, I saw them laughing in the parking lot. Can you imagine? Some of them raised eyebrows. One said to him, Chidi, why are you fooling yourself? See how you are playing CEO in waiting. Do you think you can become the CEO of this firm overnight by winning the heart of the CEO's daughter? Chidi didn't respond. He had learned long ago that temptation and mockery could not shake the foundation built by integrity. Chisholm herself wrestled with doubt. She had grown up in wealth, surrounded by the expectations of society, the scrutiny of family friends, and the weight of being a CEO's daughter. One day sitting in the office, she jokingly confided in her mother. Mom, I like him, truly. But, what will people think? Employees, friends, the press. He's not from our world. Madam Carroll smiled knowingly. Chisholm, love is not about worlds or wealth. It's about values, integrity, and respect. That young man has proven all three. If you doubt him, you doubt yourself. Chisholm nodded, and smiled. Chidi, meanwhile, worked tirelessly. Each day, he poured himself into the company's financial reports, budgeting, and strategic planning. He earned the respect of many employees, yet jealousy brewed in some corners. Despite the trials, Chisholm and Chidi found quiet moments together. One evening, they sat at a restaurant. Chisholm said to him, You know, you make me feel different. You make me see the world through eyes I never knew I had. Chidi smiled, heart thumping. And you make me believe that even someone like me can belong in a world like yours. We will have to fight for it, won't we? Chidi nodded, eyes steady. We will. Together. As Chidi began handling bigger projects, the spotlight on him intensified. His past became a target. Rumors spread. Market boy turned finance prodigy. How did he get the CEO's favor? Did you hear? He's dating the CEO's daughter. Chidi ignored the gossip, but he knew that the challenges of love and ambition were just beginning. Success breeds envy, and Chidi's meteoric rise from market laborer to a respected finance prodigy had drawn attention he didn't want. It began subtly. Files went missing, reports were altered, and small errors appeared in financial statements he had meticulously prepared. One morning, he discovered a critical spreadsheet manipulated to show discrepancies. Emeka, the senior accountant who had earlier warned him, smirked and approached him again. Seems like not everyone likes your little miracle story, Chidi. Be careful who you trust here. One evening, Chisholm confronted him. Chidi, I've noticed the tension. Is everything all right? He shook his head. Some people can't handle that I'm here, and they want to make it difficult. But I won't let them tarnish my work or us. Her eyes softened. We'll face it together. But don't let them get to you emotionally. You're stronger than this city thinks. Chidi nodded. I've faced worse. The market taught me resilience. The real threat came quietly, insidiously. A corporate rival, Victor Okeke, ambitious and ruthless, began spreading rumors to the press about favoritism and nepotism. Headlines questioned how a former market laborer had suddenly gained the trust of the CEO and her daughter. Chidi read the articles with a calm but heavy heart. His reputation was being tested, and the love he and Chisholm shared could be jeopardized if public opinion turned against him. Through all the challenges, Chisholm remained his anchor. One evening, as they walked together through the illuminated city streets, she took his hand. "Chidi, they can whisper, they can plot, they can try to stop us. But I trust you. I believe in us." He looked at her, heart pounding. "And I trust you, Chisholm. Whatever comes, we face it together. I've fought harder in the market than I ever will in this office, and I won't give up now." The story of their love and rise was no longer just about luck or opportunity, it was about courage, integrity, and the unwavering belief that love and honesty could overcome. The city had changed, but so had Chidi. From the dusty streets of the market to the polished halls of Dynasty Holdings, he had fought every obstacle with integrity, courage, and perseverance. "Chidi," Madame Carroll called at a board meeting, her voice proud and warm, "you've shown that leadership is not about wealth, influence, or birthright. It's about honesty, vision, and courage. I can think of no one more deserving to lead Dynasty Holdings than you." Chidi felt the weight of responsibility, but also the exhilaration of destiny fulfilled. "Thank you, I promise to honor the trust you've placed in me." Madame Carroll smiled, her eyes glinting with pride. "I know you will. And I know you will lead this company to heights we've never imagined." And Chidi was officially made the next CEO of Dynasty Holdings. Outside the office, Chisholm awaited. She stood with him, eyes bright with smile. "Chidi, you did it. You've earned everything: respect, success, and more importantly, our future together." "We did it, Chisholm. Every step we took, every challenge we faced, it led us here. I couldn't have done this without you." They shared a quiet smile, the city buzzing below but their hearts focused only on each other. Their love blossomed and they ended up husband and wife. Their wedding was a grand celebration, blending elegance with heartfelt tradition. Colleagues, friends, and family gathered to witness the union of two souls bound not by wealth or status, but by shared values and true love. During the ceremony, Madame Carroll addressed the guests. "Today, we celebrate more than a marriage. We celebrate integrity, courage, and the power of destiny. Chidi's journey reminds us that no circumstance can diminish character, and no obstacle can withstand honesty. For Chidi, it was a triumph of the human spirit, a testament to perseverance, morality, and love." Months passed, and under Chidi's leadership, Dynasty Holdings flourished. Innovations, expansions, and partnerships transformed the company into a global powerhouse. Employees who had once doubted him now respected him deeply, inspired by his integrity and vision. Chisholm stood by him, not just as a wife, but as a partner, confidant, and equal in every endeavor. Together, they proved that love and honesty could overcome social divides, jealousy, and even the harshest challenges. One evening, looking out over the city from their penthouse, Chidi reflected on the journey. From the dusty market streets to the helm of a multinational company, from struggle to triumph, from uncertainty to love. He turned to Chisholm. "We've come a long way." "Yes," she replied softly. "And this is only the beginning." In that moment, destiny smiled upon them. A life built on integrity, perseverance, and love had blossomed into something extraordinary. Chidi's journey was no longer just a story of survival, it was a legend of hope, triumph, and unwavering virtue. The city of Enugu, once indifferent to the struggles of a humble young man, now celebrated a new story, a story that would inspire countless others to believe that honesty, hard work, and love could truly change the world. Chidi smiled, feeling the weight of the past lift, the promise of the future bright. Destiny had been fulfilled. Thanks for watching. Remain blessed.